We're going to begin with that breaking story we've been following on Eyewitness News tonight. A Yonkers police officer injured in a car crash. That crash pushing his car in front of a Beeline bus on Tuckahoe Road. As you can see, Eyewitness News reporter Josh Einiger is on the scene. Josh, I know this is all just unfolding, but what do you know so far?
Well, Bill, what I know is what I can show you in front of me. This is a very serious crash involving that bus and two vehicles, one of which apparently was being driven by a member of the Yonkers Police Department. We could show you from this vantage point what it looks like here. We see the bus sitting on this overpass over the Sprain, and it has apparently T-boned a BMW, and there is a Chevy Impala to the left side of the bus that appears that it could be an unmarked police vehicle, although none of this has been confirmed formally by the Yonkers Police Department. We do know that there was a member of the Yonkers Police Department who was driving one of these cars who was seriously hurt and rushed to Jacoby Medical Center not far away in the Bronx. We could show you a live picture right now from Newscopter 7. You could see the other angle. It's hard to tell just from how the vehicles all ended up exactly how this accident happened, which direction which car was going in, but they are heading all on an overpass over the Sprain Brook Parkway. Also not clear if that bus was occupied with any passengers, but we haven't heard of any other injuries other than this Yonkers police officer or member of the police department who is being treated right now at Jacoby Hospital, a very advanced trauma center where he is presumably getting the best possible care. Coming back to a live picture down on the ground, it'll just show you the scene, a very, very large scene of police cars and from the Yonkers Police Department, also the New York State Police. And actually, Evan, why don't we come in the other direction here? I want to show you the Sprain Brook Parkway down there. There is some degree of traffic down in that direction from people who presumably can't get off or having trouble getting off at the Tuckahoe Road exit. But at least this is up and over that road. So as far as a rush hour concerned, this is pretty sort of segmented just to this particular spot on Tuckahoe Road. That's what we have right now. A very serious scene, a lot of grim faces among police officers here on the scene, but no real information about the status of their brother at this point.
And that's the story we're going to be covering. You're going to have it tonight on Eyewitness News on television, Channel 7 at 11 o'clock. I do have a question for you. I want to just go over this again. Unclear whether he was on duty or off duty, but he was in an unmarked car. Is that correct?
So the cars that are up there, here's what we have up there. Aside from the Beeline bus, there are two cars. The car that you see with the lights flashing, that's a BMW, which is not typically a police car, obviously. Not, no. The other car, which is harder to see from here, that appears to be a black or a dark colored Chevy Impala, which would be the kind of car that you'd see unmarked as a police car. And I see a bunch of other Yonkers police cars here that are Chevy Impalas. So, that would be, in my opinion, the car that would have been carrying this officer. But of course, we don't really have all of these granular details from the police. That car is clearly in very bad shape. It's been very severely damaged. Yes. And you can imagine whoever was in that car is probably pretty badly hurt.
All right, I love you to get back to reporting, and if anything happens while we're on countdown, let us know, Josh, and we'll put you back on. This is, of course, a day where there was another bus that crashed in Rockland County. So two buses crashing within a couple hours of each other. It is frightening. Josh, thank you for that. We're going to go to Shannon Sohn, who's been over this scene for a while. Josh talked a little bit about the traffic part of this, and it doesn't seem like it's terrible, at least from what we saw from your viewpoint a few minutes ago, Shannon.
Yeah, but there are some closures to tell you about. Phil, I just want to clarify for you, since I have you here, this is that BMW that Josh was talking about, and this is the Chevy Impala. You can see such bad front end damage to that. It appears that he had T-boned that BMW, and then that bus crashed into them. But as far as traffic goes through this area, this is happening on Tuckahoe Road on the overpass, just over the Sprain Brook Parkway. And what you need to know as you travel through this area is that if you're trying to exit off of the Sprain Brook, either north or southbound to Tuckahoe Road, those exits are completely shut down. And if you're on Tuckahoe Road itself, they've got the road shut down between Grassy Spring Road and Grassy Spring Road East. Now, We did mention that there wasn't that bad of traffic on the Springbrook Parkway because of that, but part of that is because of a crash further up on the Sprain that is keeping traffic back at the moment. So it has been causing some trouble through this area. Keep in mind that this closure is going to be in place as they continue this investigation, which could take until the wee hours of the morning. Bill, back to you.
Yeah, real quick, Shannon. I was talking to Josh about the bus crash in Rockland County. I just don't remember 2 bus crashes in one day like this.
Yeah, it's actually crazy that this would happen and such severe crashes at that. I mean, this accident itself is terrible. We know that the one police officer was injured. We don't know the extent of the injuries. When we first got over the scene, we did see another Beeline bus here. So presumably there may have been people on board that bus. So if it's only one injury, it might be a miracle at this point.
Well, it'll certainly be good news. We do hope that police officer is okay. That's the main thing. Shannon, thank you for your reporting tonight. Really appreciate it. Keep us posted. All right, keep us posted. I have some other breaking news to tell you about. This time, you may have seen it on Eyewitness News at 5 and 6 o'clock. A breaking news in the city of West New York, in New Jersey. A fire at a high-rise there, 4 stories, but it looks like a big building. Fire team's still on the scene. Shannon Sohn once again visiting the scene for a second time in one afternoon. What's the latest? It's still burning there, Shannon.
Yeah, we've got fire burning through the roof here at 5412 Madison Street. Now, this is a 4-story apartment building. There are stores on the lower floors. This went to 4 alarms almost immediately, and the fire department doing what they can. They've made access to the roof of the building, and they've got a few tower ladders up and in operation. But the residents had to be evacuated here. They are far from getting this blaze under control. Again, this is almost 2 hours into this, and we still have flames raging through. And in fact, we're just going to bring up Street Spotter 7 to show you. This is off of 55th Street, but the effort is closing down Bergen Line Avenue, the main drag getting through West New York. So the effort continues. At this point, we know of 1 injury, but we don't know the extent of that injury. Reporting live over West New York, Shannon Sohn, Channel 7, Eyewitness News. All
right, keep us posted. Shannon, keep this fire scene up, because I want to tell you something about the scene you were just over. You were just over in Yonkers. We told you that a police officer was involved in that crash. We've got little information, but what we do know is very tragic. That police officer, whether he was on duty or off duty, it appeared to be in a police car, unmarked. That police officer, we're told, has died. Our hearts are with his family and his fellow officers in the city of Yonkers. We don't have any new information, his name or anything else, but we're thinking about him, and we'll bring you the latest tonight on Eyewitness News, either online or on air at 11 o'clock. A very sad way to end this story. We want to return to that breaking and now very sad news in Yonkers. Josh Einiger returning. He was at the earlier on the Eyewitness News Countdown, and we talked about this, Josh. We didn't know all the facts in the case. We didn't know whether he was on duty, off duty, whether that was a police car undercover or whether just could have been a police car undercover. And now we know that this 24-year-old veteran has died, and broken hearts everywhere, that's for sure, including on this set.
Yeah, it's the news that a lot of people, everyone here on the scene, and so many people were dreading, us included. But we do now know that a member of the Yonkers Police Department, a sergeant with 24 years on the job, died in what looks like it could have been a freak accident on an overpass over the Springbrook Parkway. Let me step out of the way. We do know a little bit more, according to police, about the dynamics of this scene, and it got a little darker back there. So if we can zoom all the way back there, and I'll show you. You're looking at a bus facing us, a car that's to its side, and then both of them are sort of T-boned another car that's in the foreground. The car farther away from the camera next to the bus, that is an unmarked, not necessarily undercover, but an unmarked police car, Chevy Impala, that was being driven by an on-duty sergeant with the Yonkers Police Department over that overpass next to the bus driving westbound here on Tuckahoe Road, when the car in the foreground, which is a BMW, which was heading in the opposite direction away from the camera, somehow, for reasons that are not clear right now, lost control, crossed the roadway, and drove basically right into both the police car and the bus. The sergeant who was driving the police car was rushed to Jacobi Hospital, where doctors there were not able to save his life. The driver of the BMW who lost control is also critically injured. He is, or she, still alive, but critically injured and being treated right now at a nearby trauma center. We're told the driver of the bus also sustained a non-life-threatening injury. Unclear how many passengers, if any, were on that bus. We're still trying to get that information, although the release from the police department didn't mention, as far as I know, any actual occupants of the bus itself aside from the driver. But that is the scene right now. You can see there's a really extensive accident investigation scene. These things obviously treated as a crime scene because they have to preserve all the evidence and figure out exactly what this was, should this become a criminal matter. But at the moment, it just looks like a really horrible accident on an overpass in the dark at rush hour over the Sprainbrook Parkway that has claimed the life of a decorated 24-year veteran of the Yonkers Police Department. And we'll, of course, have more on this story. Go ahead, Bill. Yeah,
well, we got a minute or so, and I want to talk to you about this. First of all, the police department saying they have not announced his name because the family is still being notified. This is just so horrific, Josh. And I am told, apropos of what you were talking about, whether passengers, we're now hearing that there were about 30 bus passengers. They were treated at the scene for minor injuries late this afternoon, about 3:30 today. So that was a full bus. It could have been a whole lot worse, although it's just so horrific that this 24-year-old veteran has succumbed to his injuries. What's the scene like there? They're there, obviously, and it's all roped off, but how many police officers are there from what you can see?
A lot. I mean, we moved to the side so we got a better shot of the accident scene, but Evan went us to go over in that direction. There's a really extensive scene, lots of police officers from the Yonkers Police Department, also state troopers. It's unclear who's going to be in charge of this investigation. It looks like the Yonkers police are in charge, of course, right now. It's a quiet scene. You know, these things are always kind of surreal. You know, the police officers are professional. They're doing their job. They're investigating an accident, even if it involves one of their own. And even if they know that could have been them, they all spend all day, their whole tour, driving around. But life continues. Just under all this is the Sprainbrook Parkway. It's rush hour. People are just going about their business, riding right under this scene of carnage right here on an overpass over the roadway, totally unaware of what's going on above them. So that's sort of the surreality of what happens in a scene like this. You know, it's awful. This is an officer who became a sergeant, who has, 24 years on the job, who has presumably been through all kinds of things, only to die in what looks like it could have been a freak accident on a random overpass at night when somebody crossed the center median and drove right into him. We'll get more information, hopefully, as the night progresses, and of course maybe tomorrow from the police about the dynamics of why they think this happened, if there were perhaps drugs or alcohol involved with the driver who lost control, or any other issues. We have no reason to think that, but of course that's going to be a part of their investigation. So much we don't know yet. So much we don't know. Just a sense of shock. Right. And you're going to spend the night getting the information. Perhaps they will identify this Yonkers Police Department with 2 decades and 4 years plus on the force. Josh, thank you. Keep us posted. And we'll see you tonight on Eyewitness News at 11 o'clock. Much appreciated. Our thoughts are with that Yonkers Police Sergeant's family, and we're thinking about them.